Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. As you can see on the crawl that's below me, this is a pre-recorded broadcast because I am out for the rest of the week. Though I am still available, I'm just not here to do a live broadcast with you. So I am doing a pre-recorded broadcast the night before, but you all get to watch it tomorrow, or in your case, today. I know that Janice is on the other side of the computer answering questions, and I hope you folks are going to love this. We are going to finish up the Lola Crescent earring. I have figured out how to do all of the attachment. And today, if you're watching this live, well, it's pre-recorded, but you're watching it live. It is October 1st, and I have a preview of the monthly mix for you. So let me add my other camera in here. Let me go ahead and add that to, sorry, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, there we go. We're good. Before I get started, I just wanted to, I've been a little remiss lately in sharing all of our socials and stuff. So do note, let me see if I can get that up there. Is that want to come up? There we are. You can find us all over the web on Facebook, our wonderful bead table group. We'd love to have you over there. Lots of friendly folks who are very helpful, and it's a lot of fun over there sharing techniques and projects and stuff, all from beadshop.com. Our Instagram pages, if you make anything with our product or our projects, please give us a tag over at beadshop.com so we can share that out. Our Pinterest pages are full of inspiration. And of course, you can find us all over the web at beadshop.com. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button if you're watching us on YouTube. And I know you folks watch us on YouTube. We broke that 89,000 number. So thank you so much for doing me that solid. We just have 11,000 more to go to hit 100,000. So if you're watching, go down there, hit that subscribe button. It would mean a whole lot to me. And of course, if you need to reach out to us, hit us up at info@beadshop.com. Okay, so let me take this down. Let me share this camera. A big hello and a shout out to everyone. If I don't respond to your question, you folks I know in the chat are going to try and do that for me. I'm just going to barrel through this information. So we get going on it. So let me show you here. I have the monthly mix that I want to show you first and foremost. This was a mix that was done by Miranda. Whoops. How did that happen? There we go. I'm connected. Sorry about that. I'm not sure quite what happened there. But Miranda did this one. It's called Forks. And you know that this year we're doing all of our favorite movies. Well, one of Miranda's favorite movies is Twilight. And this is inspired. It's all ADOTs. I'm going to get a little tighter in here so you can see it. It's we haven't done anything like this mix really, I don't know, before, ever, maybe. Look at how gorgeous it is when I pull that out. It has a lot of greens, some blues, a touch of red. It's really gorgeous. A lot of these are brand spanking new beads to us. They are also, it's all in the Just In. We launched some tubes as well as the tubes of the monthly mix. So I predict that this is not going to last long. So do grab it. Miranda did a fabulous job. We're already thinking about what we're going to be doing for November. It might be something a little non-traditional, but we'll see. We'll see what we're going to do. But this one is really fantastic. If you hop over to the product page, you'll see all of the beads that are listed there. It's a really great mix. You know, I've been making those brick stitch earrings like they've been going out of style. It's a really great one to do, especially a simple brick stitch like this waltz earring that I was doing. Something smaller like this. It would look great in that colorway. Or you could do something larger or just a pendant, whatever. Or if you know, any project, wrap bracelet, whatever. Any project that is good for an A-dot. Okay, so that's what this is going on. It's called Forks, based off of Twilight. And I think when you get it, you're really going to love the colorways. Kind of moody, you know, for spooky season. It's really fantastic. So great job, Miranda, on that. But let's get to the project at hand, shall we? I am going to actually take that crawl off the bottom so we're not distracted. And we'll get right to it. So this was the earring that I worked on last week, the Crescent fan earring. And you remember this earring was originally, I did it in a colorway called Frida. This is also a project that was very generously shared by our friend Danielle Wicks, and you can find all of the info, all of the ingredients, and I will go ahead and put the finished project up there as well so you can see it. But it's a really fun one. The first one that I did, we used that tiara cast fold over crimp, but I wanted this to have, I don't know, a little bit of a different flair. So I want to show you what I've done here, and then we're going to jump into it, and I'm going to show you how the rest of this went together. Of course, I'm looking for my awl, which is right here. So when we left this project off, I had finished these two kind of what I call the skirt or the flounce or whatever over on the bottom, okay? Then we had this hammered teardrop that we're going to attach. So let me talk you a little bit about how I kind of took these next steps. So what I would do here, what I learned putting this together, was I started with a row of 11/aughts here, this row, in the galvanized champagne matte. Then I kind of used this row of the 15/aughts, the little bridges in between them, to kind of do that ladder stitch or that first row of that bead stitching there. And then I came in and I did the other 11/aughts. Then let me get a little tighter so you can see this. What I did next was I started where I ended. I did some picot, a picot of 3, 1, 2, 3, the 15s. And then after you put the 3 on, you just go with the 2. And what I used was the thread bridge underneath these 11/aughts. When I ended here, I just kind of wove back through here. The 15/aughts, the holes are pretty small, so we've got quite a bit of thread through here already. So I actually busted one of these. You can see it right there. I'm going to come back in and stitch another size 15 in there to complete it. But I did actually break one of these beads. So don't throw your needle or put your needle back through these 15s. Just kind of catch it under that thread bridge again, go all the way to the other side, come up that 11 and do that picot. Then I thought what it needed, I wanted to do another row of the 8/aughts along the inside here. So I'm going to do that. And then to close it off, I'm just going to do a loop of seed beads here, and I'm going to add our ear wire. You can add any type of ear wire that you like. I am actually going to use these shepherd hook ones, I think, right here. And I'm going to connect it right through a bridge of seed beads there. Okay, so let me show you on this one how I start, and then we're going to jump to this one later. Now remember, if you haven't tackled these, they're really fast and easy to make. And if you want them to be a little bit longer, you could extend this 11-aught section. You could even extend that 15-aught section. You could also extend the ruffle. It really just depends. If you watched last week's episode, part 1 of this, it really shows you kind of how to pull everything together. So what I did here was I have a spare piece of thread that's left over from this one. So I could start here, get this one on, and do my 11-aughts, and then come back and do my picot. I could do that, right? Because the thread is already there. If you didn't have thread, you could come here, start your 11-aughts, go all the way across, do that second row of 11-aughts, and then come back and do your picot all the way. The order of operations for those actually doesn't really matter, okay? I think since I have this thread already, I finished it up, I came up and out of those 15-aughts. Let me just start by adding some 11-aughts, going up this way. Maybe I'll come back down and reinforce it. I don't know. Maybe I'll add the picot. This is to say you can really do it however you like. It's pretty forgiving. So, that first row of kind of that ladder stitch along this loop, we come in, I put on 2 of the 11-aughts here. I go through that loop. So I've got these here kind of sitting here. Now, I kind of have to work backwards, right? I'm going to come in, I'm going to go around this component, back up. I'm actually going to go this way. Sorry, I was in the wrong configuration. I want to go back, and I want to, because I'm just doing a single strand here. It doesn't want to move with my needle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, and I need to go through the top of the bead, which is actually, I'll get this through the bead and then I'll show you. Hang on. Come on. Come on now. There. It's a slippery little bugger. Come on, I'm going to have to hold it up. Get it in there. And then I'll show you which way it needs to be facing. Come on now. All right. Unless this bead is blocked. What's going on here? There we go. Do you ever have that issue? All right, so let me show you here. I'm going to move. Oh, for crying out loud. Came out. Let me go through this. It's the top of the bead, everybody. Top of the bead. There we go. And I'm going to pull this through so it's on there. I'll pull it and then I'll show you what it looks like before I go any further. Okay, I'm going to pull this tight. So see, that's actually the second bead in the row right there. There we go. Like that. The second bead. And let me get my fingers out of the way so you can see it. So I put on my 2 beads. I did my kind of ladder stitch, catching it around this one. Now I've got to go down this bead, back up, down that bead again, and back up, and then I'll be ready to do that edging. Okay, so let's hope my needle didn't fall off. It did not. That's good. So now I'm going to come down through the top of that bead like that, tighten it up, I'm going to hold it in my hand so you can kind of see it. I am going to go around the component. Don't worry about all this. You'll fix this later. You just want to get those first 2 bits of beads on there to connect, right? So I go around the component. Now I go up this bead. Maybe it wants to go this way. Up that bead, and that's going to kind of tighten everything together. Get this knot out of the way. Let me tighten it up here, and you'll see. Okay? Tighten, tighten, tighten. That kind of is going to sit there. Now I come down next to the bead that's next to it, through the top of the bead, back around that component, and now up. It's kind of like your first ladder stitch, right? But you're going around this component. You got to catch it. So see here, tighten that up, tighten. A little bit of space there, which I don't want. See that little bit? Make sure on that first pass you get everything tight. This little extra piece of thread isn't honestly the end of the world, because when I come through, I can tighten it up and you're not really going to notice it. But let me see if I can reverse engineer this, use my awl, and get rid of that little bit of space. Tension when you're doing this section is kind of important. Let's see if I can. And again, I'm using, just to go over the materials I'm using here. There we go. I am using Fireline, and I'm using a size 12 beading needle. And then I'm going to go down to 15s. Okay, is there something? There might be something twisted here. Hang on. This just doesn't look right to me. Does it look right to you? I don't know, maybe it is. You'd think if I'd pre-record this, I know what I'd be doing, but you know, I'm gonna take it out. I could restart, but I'm not gonna. You folks don't mind when I take out mistakes, right? Because again, if this is worth doing, right, it's worth doing correctly. So let me just get it all out of there. Okay. Something went weird in my first thing. So let me just take this back. All right. Here's my ruffle. Here's my teardrop. I'm going to go from here and up, okay, for that first side. Let's go ahead and re-thread that needle. And I'm going to start. I'm going to just put one bead on at a time. That may have what kind of messed me up. I'm needling that thread. Okay, so I'm coming up. I'm going through this first bead. So it's sitting there like that. I'm going up through this component. So it's sitting there like that. Now, I'm going to put another bead. This is the bead that's going to sit next to it, because the first bit of the row we always put on 2, right? So I'm here. I'm going to go back up through this component and back up through that second bead that I put on. Can you see it? It's right here. Whoops, you can't because I'm off camera. There we go. So see, that's fitting correctly. Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to hold all of this, and I'm going to pull down that slack. Okay, there we go. Like so. Now, the bead needs to sit up on the inside right there and tighten. Okay, so see how I'm holding it, and I can slide this component around a little bit later after I get it started. But see, this thread is coming out of that second bead. Now it's going down through the first bead. Now I just repeat it. Yeah, something weird was happening there, so I didn't want to screw around with it. So here we go. Now I go up that same one I just went down through. Okay, but I have to catch the component. Now I go down next door through this one. I'm going behind the component this way. And then I will go in front of the component this way and back around to tighten. Okay, so now these two beads, like the first step of our ladder stitch, are sitting correctly. Okay, whoops, and they should be sitting on the outside, not the inside. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Now, what happens, let me get the finished one here so you can kind of see. What we're going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to stitch. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's 2. I need to do 6 more across. So let me get my needle. I'm going to put on my bead. My bead, sometimes it's easier for me to hold this in my hand. And again, it'll be a little loose until you get everything kind of where it should be. Okay, so see, that one's on. I've gone through the component. I'm going back up the bead. I'm adding my next bead. Go through the component. And it's kind of like brick stitch, but the component is your thread bridge, right? Does that make sense? And this goes. So how many is that? We've got 4. We're halfway there. Okay. Okay. So let's get one of these. I'm going to go through. Oops. Did I pick up the wrong needle? I did. Let's get all that out of the way. So it's the hazard of too many threads. Okay, so that's 4. Pick up the correct needle. Get this back into frame. Pick this up, go around the back. And remember, as with all of our lives, because today, since this is pre-recorded, right? This is a pre-recorded show. I'm not stopping to answer questions, but you can answer or ask your questions in the chat. I know that everybody here, the team, everybody will help out. And of course, you can watch this over and over. So let's take a count. There's 2, there's 4, there's 6. This is going to come down a little bit here. So I have room for 8. Let's go here. Like that. Did I go through the right way? I caught something weird. No, that is not. Let me see if I can backtrack without screwing everything up. Sometimes the simplest of brick stitches, I'm going to scoot back a little bit. I think I'm a little tight here. There we go. I think that's better. Okay, there we go. There it is. I think I went in from the top rather than the bottom. There it is. Okay. 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6. I have to keep counting in case I get it wrong. There's this. And I think this is an easier way to do it. If you do have a nice long thread coming out of your little crescent fan there, then you can kind of work up. If you don't, and you have to start with a fresh thread, I would start up here and work my way down. But since I'm starting up like this, right, I think just to save time, I'm going to do the picot around the outer edge. Because if I do this picot, then I'll come in, I'll weave here like this. I'll do this side of 8s, come back and do the picot, maybe figure out where I'm going to start, because I could start putting these 8/0 on the inside anywhere. Doesn't matter. I could start here because they're going to go all the way around. So it doesn't really make any difference. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to do here is, let me just start with the picot, right? Saves time. So here's my 15s. So to start the picot, I start with 3 beads, right? The first picot is always 3. And these are 15s. You could do the picot again with 11s, but I wanted something a little bit smaller. Okay. So under that first thread bridge is where I'm going to begin. And see, there's that picot that sits 1, 2, 3. Now I go back through, up and through the last hole of that picot, so it holds everything nice and tight. Okay. Now all I do at this point is put on 2 beads, because the last bead in the picot here is the first bead in your next picot. Okay, so identify where my next thread bridge is. It's there. I come through, pull it tight, and the magic happens when you go back up that 3rd bead, the last bead of the picot. Now, if you have to do a little bit of telling that piece where it's supposed to go, that picot, there we go, that looks better, and get that tension right. Okay, so now you're just going to continue on with doing that picot. This is still loosey-goosey. If you don't want it to be loose, come in and kind of, basically I'm going to whip stitch this in along the bottom, but you know, if you can control it okay, everything looks okay to you, you'll be fine. I went up to that one, so now I need 2, 1 and 2, and under that thread bridge and up through the third bead in the picot. I like how 15s look with this. I think it not only does it tie the blue into this design. Whoops, I didn't go under the thread bridge. I missed it. So let me put that back on. Make sure you're under that bridge, or else your bead will pop off like mine did. There we go. And come in and tighten it up nicely. So see here, this one is a little down. I'm not sure why. Let's see if I can tighten the tension just a little. 15s, remember, 15s are fragile. Not super fragile, but you want to make sure that you're not pulling on them too hard. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that middle picot bead, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. So now your next 2, 1 and 2, under the thread bridge, capture it. Picot is there. And up. Okay. There we go. 2 of these, 1 and 2. Under the bridge, looks like we've got 2 more picot to do. Okay. And up. I'm going to put that pre-recorded broadcast crawler one more time, kind of halfway through, just as a reminder that while you're watching this on Wednesday, whoops, I missed the thread bridge again. Gosh darn it. There we go. I am not in the office, but you've got Miranda here today. You've got Miranda and Emily here tomorrow. Chris is always here, and I will be back on Monday. For Friday's broadcast, we've got all kinds of stuff dropping for you this week while I'm gone. It's going to be fun. Today, as I mentioned earlier, the monthly mix has dropped. Don't forget to go take a look at it and grab 1 or 2. It's going to be a popular one. It's going to sell out. We also had a restock. We got a few more of September's mix. We had to make a few more because honestly my count was off, to be completely transparent. So we made a few more. So we were sold out of September's silver screen, but if you want a tube of silver screen, it's back in. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to add, see, I need like 1 more little picot there, I think. So here's this, and here's this. Now I'm going to come in. I have a thread bridge kind of here, so I think that's where I'll go. That thread bridge, you're kind of there. That fills in the space, right? And now you're ready to kind of whip stitch this little skirt on. So, because I can't really go through these 15s really well. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go next door and I'm going to make sure that I catch the thread bridge there. Okay. And I kind of tighten that up. I go through and I go through that same thread bridge again. just to tighten it up. Okay, let me see if I can see it. Is that tight? Looks like I got a little bit of a tension issue here. Let me see if I can. Tighten that up. Okay, so see, there we go. And we want this to kind of stitch all the way across the bottom. So I'm going to go over to this next thread bridge, up through the teardrop, around the teardrop, and back through the thread bridge, now between the line of the second and the third 15-aughts. So I'm not going through any beads. I mean, you can, and I started to do that on the other one, and it was not good, my friends. I busted several beads, and we don't want to do that. So if you're nice and tight here, this little skirt is going to conform. I think I'm in this one. And I aim my needle kind of right where the 4 beads come together there to get it through. So it goes through the front, up through the teardrop, around the component. Where did that one come? So that one goes there. Okay. Now, we talked a little bit last week about when we make this ladder stitch, that we make it along the bottom of this teardrop first. I haven't tried it. You could. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I just haven't done it yet, to be honest. And it's a little funny right there, but I'm going to come in and I'm going to tighten that in because I'm going to do that row of 8-aughts along the inside. So don't worry about that too much. You can always come back in and stitch it just a little bit tighter. Okay, so here goes this one. Now I need to add my 8-aughts, right? So this is connected. See that? Just kind of whip stitching it through. Now I'm going to add my 8-aught. I'm going to slide it all the way down so I don't go in the wrong place. And I'm just going to do this single one. I'm going to go around, up through the bottom of that seed bead, and tighten it in. Now I'm ready to do 2, 4, 6. We did 8. So let me do 8. So this is 2. Then once you finish this, you're going to go back down with this picot. Now, you don't have to add the row of beads on the inside of the drop. You could add 15s, and maybe the 15s might look better. I don't know. Maybe the 8s are a little bit big. I might pull those other ones out. I'm still undecided. Maybe the 11s are okay. I think you could use either. Let me finish stitching this, and then let's just take a look. Okay. And I can test it on this too, because if I come down here, I can come back up and do the picot there. That's the beauty of these stitches. It's pretty easy in whatever order, as long as you're kind of layering them up one after the other in the correct order. Let me go back just a little. I might be getting a little bit close. I'm going to turn the crawl off here. I really hope that you tackle these. I just love these earrings. I love the way they look. I really like them. I think they've got a lot of movement. I think they've got a lot of flair to them. And they're not that much of an investment in time. I feel like I could stitch, like ladder stitch and brick stitch around these things all day. 2, 4, 6, 7, one more. Here. Okay. Now, I don't want to throw the tension off on this. I said maybe I'd do some 15s on the inside here, but I don't know. That might be playing with fire, right? I want to really make sure that the tension is right. So I would start here. I'd get my 3, my picot, 1, 2, 2, I said, and 3. We come down under. There's that first thread bridge right there. That's the first picot. Oops. I didn't really get it. That's the first picot. There we go. And then I go up that first one. You don't have to do this picot edge either. I just really like, you can see I was doing that here with the birthday earrings. It's kind of a picot edge. It's an 11, a 15, and then a 3 millimeter. So you can get inventive, right? And if you have to pull it out, it's not the end of the world. So remember, the last bead of the picot beforehand is the picot, the first bead of the next picot that you put on. Okay. There we go. That one's sticking up a lot better. I don't know. I may have had a misstep in the other one, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Just go over under each of those thread bridges. Okay, like so. Here. So just to tell you a little bit about what the rest of the week looks like, hold on, or check your newsletters every day, folks. I'm sending the newsletters out. You'll see some drops early. Oh, this 15 is a little small. Let me take it off. Let me not force it. Danielle Wicks is going to be with us a week from today on Wednesday. She has an earring that I am crazy about. That is coming up. The drop for the supplies, it's a whole brand new bead. Well, we've had the bead before, but whole brand new colorways. It's going to be done in 10-aughts. You know how much Danielle loves those 10-aught delicas. They're going to be done in those 10-aughts, and they're going to be just gorgeous. I can't wait for you to see them. So all of that new product will drop. This weekend, we've also got something special. Your favorite things, your like number one almost favorite bead here on Beadshop. Janice just finished listing them. We've got them all ready to go. So watch your newsletters on Friday. I'm also going to later this week, maybe Thursday, depends on, I haven't finished it yet, but we're all done with the Viva La Vida kits, and I have a few of the beads in the kits left over. They're going to be an extremely limited drop, but in case you want to add any to elongate your kit, or if you just like them or whatever, I'm going to put those up and drop those for you. Next week, I'm doing a lot of preparation for my online, our sewing class that we've got, the Intro to Sewing Machine. I also have put together the kits for our first sewing class. I know how many of you love that Frida painting, so I've transferred those onto canvas, and we're going to be doing a really fantastic bag. I'll be back in office on Monday, so you'll see that kit drop, I think maybe next week sometimes, maybe Tuesday. And I'll probably go live and show you what it is. It's a great, great class for a beginner. I'm going to need two. If you're a more seasoned sewer, you are going to get some really great tote bag making tips. I'm going to teach you kind of my signature tote bag that you will make again and again. It really is easy. You'll have the option to buy the Frida patch or not, but I do have kits for you. And again, the kit is optional. You could provide all of your own things, but the kit makes it really, really easy. So those are some of the things that are coming down the pike. Also, don't forget, even at the last minute, if I'm going to go through this 11-aught right here. If you want to join Janice on her East Coast Gathering, the East Coast Gathering has just a couple more spots available. So if you decide, oh, you know what, I'm free that weekend, it's still on the homepage of our website, so you can go in and sign up for that. She's really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. See what I'm doing? I'm moving my needle over because I've got a little hole right over there. So I'm just zigzagging through this brick stitch section because I don't want to zigzag through my 15s. 15s are just too small for that. So I'm moving my needle over here. Okay. And I think I am going to put the gold ones on the inside. I want it to be a little substantial. The earring is not that big. I think it's going to look fine. Let's just make a decision and go with it. Now see, here's where that hole was, right there. So I'm going to come down here through that 11-aught. I'm just going to kind of, let me see, 2, 4, 6, 2, 6, 8. I'm just going to come in. I'm going to kind of bypass these 15s. It's a little unorthodox, but I'm going to come in at the top of that 8-aught, or I'm sorry, that 11-aught that's right there. And I'm going to stitch it in place one more time. That's going to make that sit a little bit better. Yeah, see? And it's going to tighten up that hole. And so I'm going to go around and through. Back up through. And back up that 11-aught. So I can start, like I was saying, I can really start the interior of this anywhere I want to go, right? I've got right here, my thread ended up here. So I started, it's a little loose right now, it just needs to be tightened. There we go. See, I started up here. Here, I'm just going to go through using this center component like the thread bridge again It's a little tight. You want to be careful. You don't want to break those beads. I'm just going to stitch the inside 11s here all the way around and end here. It makes no difference, honestly. I could weave all my thread back up and start up here, but there's no point to it really. So I'm going to put on one of these, right? And I'm just going to go back through. There's a little space there through the 11/0. Can you see that? Let me get a little tighter. A little space there. I'm going to go through there, push this bead, tell it where I want it to go, make sure it's sitting in the right spot, and go up through. Okay, so I'm just going to brick stitch, and I could go, it might be easier for me to go through the front, so I need to go through that one there. Make sure that you're using a size 12 needle. This is a pretty tight little space here. I come around the back of the component up through that 11/0. Next 11/0 goes on. Kind of decide, looks like I want to go through that space, because remember the interior of the circumference of this teardrop is a little smaller. So you might not go through every single one, but see there, it's coming along. So now let's put this 11 on. I'm going to head through this one and back up. Let's see how I'm going to deal with this corner. I'm going to go here through that one, here through this. Then I'm going to put on a bead and I'm going to jump to this side of the thread bridge. And let's see how things fit. And you kind of have to maybe push them down just a little. But once you get it in there, you can kind of go, okay, fit. There we go. And it's not perfectly lined up, but you could always do these tops as like one smaller bead, like a 15 if you wanted. I don't think it's worth the heartache. Right, so we're going to go back through here. And we're just going to continue around. I want to continue and go all the way. And you kind of have to just do this by sight. Again, you might skip going between two of these 11/0. I don't know. You tighten it up, you look at it, and you go, okay, it looks like I need to go there. So I'll put on my bead, and I'm going to go right there. Because you don't want to overcrowd. If you overcrowd these, they're going to buckle. And that is not what you want. Because remember, the interior of the teardrop is smaller than the exterior, right? So there we go, around that component. So the thread that I'm using, just as a reminder, I'm using Fireline. Now these findings that I'm using here, see, I could also stop here, but I'm going to go all the way around. The Fireline I'm using is the smoke color. See, I've got to go through those 15s. It's a little risky, but find the space down there in between see where these, there's a 15, there's a 15, there's a row below it. I aim for right in the center of those 4 beads, a little bit of a bigger space. What was I saying? Oh, I was saying about thread. So if you really want to match your thread to this, use like gold KO or whatever, and it'll really match. You could also use crystal. It's kind of clear. I'm not super fussed about seeing the thread there, to be honest. This has a little bit of a rustic feel to it, so I'm not worried. But if you really want your thread colors to match, make that choice. Especially, like, you could do this part with Fireline, you know, the skirt part, and then do this part around the loop, you know, in a different color. You can switch threads. Now, I'm getting kind of close here. Okay, so I need to stop and take a look and see. One more bead is going to make this buckle. So I'm going to go down this first bead that I put on, because again, I don't want it to buckle. And I'll stitch it so everything kind of comes together here. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to come in, I'm going to move my thread. I'm just going to go in and out of these because I want to move my thread to the top. I'm going to go, let's see. I'm going to go through this 11, but not the 15. Just the 11. I'm going to go through this 11. And around, because I need my thread to be coming out of that 11 on. This way. Okay, see that? Now my thread is in the right position to add the loop. I haven't caught it. Yeah, I did catch it. Okay. So now I'm just going to make a seed bead loop across the top. Let me get that nice and clear. See that? And I'm going to use the 15s, I think. And I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what 5 look like. Oh, there's that one that doesn't fit. I need to throw that on the floor. Go away. There we go. I think I dropped another one. Let's go that. It's close. So that's 3. That's 4. And I'm doing this because the ear wire, the way that it's situated, has to sit right. So, okay, so riddle me this. If I wanted that ear wire to sit where I put it, maybe I put on 3 15s, 1 11, then the ear wire. That 11 acts like an ear wire, like a stopper. And then I'm going to put on 3 more 15s. Let's see what that looks like. If I don't have that and that ear wire is just on the 15s, it might travel along there. And I don't know if I want that. Nope. I swear I'm using a size 12 needle. This might be a 10, to be honest, because it was just sitting on my board. So it could be a 10. Let's see if I can get one more on here. We don't want to break You don't want to bust through these 15s. Okay, there we go. And so now I go back down through that 11. Let me just go back down through it so I can tighten it and see how it's going to sit. I can't really tell any other way. Here we go. Yep, that's perfect. See how that, I think the 3 is perfect. Let me pull it tight. I could go with 2, actually. I mean, it looks okay. I think it would be better with 2. So let me just take it off. I'm going to go back here with 2, and then I'll restring them on. There's that. Let's needle this thread. Doesn't take long. 2 15s, 1 11, the ear wire, 1 11, 2 15s. You could do this whole thing in 11s as well. I just thought the 15s had a little more of a delicate look. And what I'm going to go back through and do is I'm going to come up, go through the 11 next to it, and reinforce this a couple of times. Yeah, doesn't that look better? That's better. So let me just come back. I'll go around the component, back up through that 11. We'll see if I can go back through these 15s. I don't know. I'm getting an awful lot of thread in there, to be honest. You might even want to try, though there's such a pain, is a size 13 beading needle. But let me see what I can do with this. I just need to pass it through one more time. Let me see. Yeah, that goes through. It's all right. I was worried for nothing. That, and that. Because remember, this dangle carries all the weight. The earring, though they're not that heavy. There we are. And tight. Make it nice and firm. See, and those 2 size 11 beads are really kind of keeping all of these nice and even. I'm going to go back up through this 11 right here. Or maybe I'll just go around. I'm not even going to go through the 11. I'm going to go around there, around the frame. And I'm just going to weave this through maybe that 11 right there, if I can get it through. Turn a couple of corners because we don't want this to come out. Weave it in. There's plenty of room because these are 11s. Get it in there. There we go. And this one. Then what I like doing is I like stitching a square. So see, I'm going through that one. Ouch. I'm going through that one. Back up through this one. Let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry, I hope you can see that. Go up through this one. Maybe I'll go back down through that one too. And then that's it. That's plenty. And I can come in, let's see if my thread burner is still, my battery is working. If not, you can just clip it under tension. It's taking a minute to heat up. I think I need a fresh battery. Nope, it doesn't want to do it, and I don't want to wreck the tip of this. I'm pulling too hard. Yeah, that's not warm. Fresh battery time. Let me just use my snips. It's all right, not the end of the world. Get that out of the way. Make sure that you're only clipping. Pull it under tension, and there you have it. Let me zoom out. I think they look terrific. So this one, I just have to finish the interior and then adding that ear wire. Get a little closer. So that's it. I'm going to try it on so you can see what the Lola earring looks like. Here, let me get this going. Let me get me going. So here's the finished one. Yeah, look at and it looks really great. If you got that Viva La Vida earring kit that I did, or necklace kit that I did, they really look nice with it. Oh yeah, look at that. Can you see it? Very light. The silhouette on this, I think, is gorgeous. Here's let me put my Viva La Vida. The kit, whoops. Oh, make sure not to open this and drop your, I did that last time. Drop your little, hang on, they're right here on the floor. Your little loops. You could also make these loops. Whoops, I dropped it again. You can make these loops into earrings as well. But I really like how they float on this necklace. Can I get it open? I'll do it later. You get the idea. You've seen it. So I'm going to turn this around so I've got those going. But here it is. Look at how great that matches. Really fantastic. So keep your eye out. If you didn't get the kit sold out pretty quick. But we've got a lot of these great, like, Tibetan reproductions, right, that you can kind of create your own with. I've linked it over on the homepage, so you can find the broadcast for it and follow along and make yours. You could follow along the broadcast and make your own version of this. I know that a lot of you, like me, love these type of beads and probably have some in your collection. But I think this looks really, really terrific. So there it is. So as you know, my friends, this is a pre-recorded broadcast today. It'll show tomorrow, October 1st. We will be launching, or we will have launched, the Forks mix for October, as well as the new beads. I think there are 4 new ones in here. The plain tubes also will launch, and this is all in the Just In section as well. So thanks so much, my darling friends, for joining me today. Friday, there's going to be a replay for Free Tip Friday. I'm not doing anything live, but I'll pick a nice one for the replay that will be fun for you guys to gather and chat. Watch your newsletters for this weekend because we're dropping some of your favorites. And then I'll be back next week. We have the dates for our first tote bag class. There's still room, though the signups are going fast, in the Intro to Sewing Machine class. Janice still has some room in her East Coast gathering on the 11th. So yeah, lots going on here. Again, I wanted to mention just real quick, as you know, we've brought a new team member on, Emily 2, we like to call her. And lots of you have been really, really, really patient with our shipping. To be completely transparent right now, that is one of the hardest things for small businesses. We are such a small team. We don't have the big office nor the large fulfillment team that we had. Our goal is to get back to those 3 to 5 business days shipping. But I want to tell you, if you order and you need something right away, Miranda checks all the orders first thing. If you use priority shipping, that order goes out either that day or the next business day. Okay. You can also leave us a note in your order notes, but even better, shoot us an email and you're like, Kate, I'm using this for a project. Please get this out fast, fast, fast. And we will do our best to do so. Give us another couple of weeks. I mean, we are flying through orders, and really, really working as hard as we can for you. We really appreciate your patience, but communication is key, my friends. So if you need something, if there's an issue with your order, but we're getting back on track to getting all those orders checked so nothing goes out incorrect to you, that those orders go out in a timely manner, because we know that you have high expectations for beadshop.com, and we have high expectations for ourselves. So thank you for those emails, those communications, those happy, encouraging emails. We like those too. So yeah, that's our story. We're sticking to it. Thank you again so much for joining me on this pre-recorded broadcast. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button if you're watching us live on YouTube or on a replay. And we would love it if you shared this content out to other beaders who would love it. That's the best way to support us, besides making an order. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. And I'll see you for a replay on Friday and live next week with Danielle Wicks next Wednesday. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.